This is a Ski Exchange public service announcement for people who buy skis online and buy cheap bindings as a package. Please stop doing it, guys. I'm going to throw over to Simon in the workshop now. It's going to tell you exactly why. You don't want to be putting things like Squire 10s on bent 110s because things are going to go wrong. Simon, tell them what you think.
Thanks, James. More of you now are becoming more savvy in buying product online, and we get asked to price match a lot. One of the issues that we're getting is that people are buying big fat all mountain skis and asking us to price match with specific bindings. The difference is when you come into a store, we kind of look at your physique, we look at your ability level, and we choose your bindings based on those criteria. What we're finding more and more is that people are buying really high performance all mountain skis online and really just buying the cheapest binding that will go cosmetically. But there are real big issues with this. Now, the binding manufacturers are partly to blame, but also I think people need to take responsibility. So the first thing you want to do is work out your DIN release. There's many tools online you can work out your release setting, and once you've got that number, that's when you need to be looking at the different types of bindings. So, for example, I'm going to use Marker as an example. Now, all the brands are guilty. This is not just Marker. You know, Salomon, Look, Tyrolia, all of these brands do this as well. They do a lot of multiple graphics in very basic in ski bindings to match up with their premium skis. So with Marker, for instance, they have the Royal Family. The Royal Family starts at the Squire right the way up to the Jester, and they have all different release settings. Now, the key thing is, if you work out your DIN release at, say, 8 or 9, and you're buying a binding that has a release up to 10, you're right at the limit of its adjustment straight away. The bindings, say things like the Squire 10, are designed for lightweight skiers who are getting into skiing, not jumping off big jumps, hitting rails and things like that, and people just destroy them. Now, with the brands, I've got some notes here from Marker's website, for instance. The Squire 10, so it's their entry-level price point binding, is recommended for people that weigh between 30 and 105 kilos, so a very big, wide range. The release setting goes from 3 to 10. Now, with that type of binding, you can pretty much set it up with any ski. You can put a wider brake on it as well. But the issue comes that we're getting these bindings destroyed, and the manufacturers will not put it under warranty. So they'll get set up onto a big, say, like a Nordic Enforcer, big charging ski. People are breaking them, and then we speak to the manufacturer, and they're like, "Well, this binding is not designed for that type of skiing." But indirectly, they're selling them to online stores. People are looking at sexy ski, unsexy bindings. That's the cheapest. Let's whack it on. But bindings aren't sexy, but it's the most important bit of kit. If you value your needs, you need to get the right type of binding. So personally, I, as a rule of thumb, use a system, and it seems to work quite well. When you've worked out your DIN setting, add 4. So I ski generally on 8. So add 4, so that goes up to 12. If the bindings I'm using have a release setting of 12 or above, I'm nicely in the middle of the range and generally pretty safe. When bindings have got that sort of level of release, they tend to be a bit beefier, a bit stronger. They work better on wider platform skis or on more racy type high performance skis. So for instance, like with the Squire 10, again, I'm using Marker's example, at a DIN of 8, I've only got 2 settings left. In theory, it's absolutely fine to use, but longevity-wise, they're just not man enough for the job. Same with the Squire 11, it's a little bit beefier. You can then get into the Griffin. The Griffin has got a release of 13, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 5 is absolutely fine. The other end of the scale is that we also get people that are looking at bindings and going, I want to get the best of the best. So again, within the Royal Family, you've got the Jester 16 and 18. Now, these are very high performance bindings. They may match the ski you're looking at, but if your recommended release settings 6 or 7, these bindings, the release setting starts at 6 or 7. So you don't want to be right at the bottom of the setting either. So you want to be somewhere in the middle. You want to have scope to crank it up, but also scope to wind it down. The higher the performance the binding, they are a bit heavier, but they are a lot tougher. So when you're selecting your ski, be it online particularly, just be aware of what your release settings are and match the binding accordingly. It's not about just getting the cheapest binding. It's a very important bit of the kit. And when people come into a proper ski store, the member of staff that's serving you straight away will dismiss 3/4 of the bindings either being too high performance or too heavy or too low performance. And that's where we get our window of binding. So maybe not a £99 binding, maybe a £160, £180 binding, but ultimately it's your knees that are the things that are going to thank you. And also, you don't want to be buying 2 pairs of £99 sets of bindings in his ski season, and we've had that situation already. So that's a little bit of a brief rundown. I'm not singling out Marker. All of the brands do it, but take responsibility. Work out your DIN setting, and when you choose your bindings, if you're buying them in store or you're buying them online, you want to be somewhere in the middle, not at the limits at the top or the bottom of the DIN range.